So for those of you that don't know me, my name is Kris McDaniel. I'm the social studies consultant at the Wisconsin Department of Public Instruction, as Mary said. And I have a slide deck, just a brief overview of the requirements for Act 30. And the good news is that there isn't a ton in the bill that is required for you guys. Most of the bill has requirements for me. Is this showing my slide deck now? Good, okay. So I do have a link here so you can get to the slide deck. Everything there's clickable links in there and all that good stuff. I just tossed that in the chat. If you ever want to get in touch with me, if other questions come up, my email and my office phone number are there. The best way to reach me is by email, but you can drop a question if you don't want to ask something here. If it's specific to your district, feel free to contact me. I would also like to begin this work by acknowledging that the land on which this was prepared, and if we were in person, the land on which this workshop would be held, are the land of the Ho-Chunk people and the Ho-Chunk Nation. We do work to cultivate and maintain our collaboration with the 11 federally and state recognized tribes in Wisconsin, and also with the one tribe that we have that is not federally or state recognized. The Brotherton Nation near Fond du Lac is working towards federal recognition. We do see that this land was taken from them in an unacceptable manner, and we work to increase those bonds with the tribes to ensure proper education for our students. So the law, and Mary mentioned that there's a link to the law on the webpage. There's also a link to the law here if you'd like to see the actual wording. Basically, it talks about the Holocaust and other genocides, that it has to be incorporated into the standards, and that it requires instruction on the Holocaust and other genocides. So the main gist of the law for districts is that by July 1st of this year, so 7 months, 6.5 months from now, as part of the social studies curriculum, that districts include instruction on the Holocaust and other genocides at least once in grades 5 through 8 and at least once in grades 9 through 12. So breaking that down, the law does specify that it's in social studies, that the expectation is in social studies, that it is instruction on the Holocaust and other genocides once in 5 through 8, so not once every year, but at least once in grades 5 through 8, at least once in grades 9 through 12. And you have until July 1st to get your curriculum work in order, expected to be started next school year. There's a number of things that have come up. A lot of the law has to do with what I have to do. So for example, as part of the law, I am required to work with a state group that specializes in Holocaust education. Well, that would be the Holocaust Education Resource Center in Milwaukee. They are a partner in this work. They've done fabulous work. And also, although not specified in the law, the work that we have done partnering with the centers at UW-Madison has been just a great opportunity for us and for teachers to expand into the requirements of the law. The Wisconsin Standards for Social Studies does incorporate Holocaust and other genocides. It's on page 42 of the standards. It's part of the historical eras and themes, things to consider as you are teaching. We do not have specific content standards for history in any subject area. Our history standards are incredibly skills-based. And so this is how, and actually this was done before the law actually passed. They were already in the standards. The other slides that I have here, you are welcome to go in and take a look at. I'm not going to go through them all so that there's time to go through all of the wonderful things that are planned for today. But we will be looking at quality resources on genocide education. Mary and I have had some great conversations on what constitutes genocide, on what statements we are going to make as an agency, on what resources we are going to be able to find to make accessible to teachers. Excuse me. And then we want to ensure that these topics are incorporated into the curriculum in ways that make sense with context for students. The way that you teach genocide to 5th graders has to be very different from how you teach genocide to 12th graders. It's just maturity levels and expectations. These should be, we encourage inquiry-based, we encourage active learning for our students, culturally and linguistically supportive environments and pedagogy. And there are some statements that I do plan on this agency making. For example, you may have heard me say it before, it is really never appropriate to do Holocaust or genocide-based simulations with students. That's just not, there's a lot of evidence that it doesn't work. It can harm students in a way that is not worth trying it. So some things like that. I did have some questions last year, being along the lines of, what if my administrators don't even know that this is a law now? And so there is a link to an infographic here. It's something that can be sent to administrators, sent to anyone who doesn't know that it's a law. It just has the basic outline. And really that's my quick and dirty on the law. There are some other resources in here from the Holocaust curriculum map that Sam Goldberg is going to be talking about today, some resources from the Historical Society, and then some things that we are looking at getting done in the next 6 to 12 months. So I want to respect our time here. I'm going to stop sharing. All of you have access to get to the slide deck. I put the link in the chat. But if there's any quick questions, I'd be happy to answer them.